Hey guys, even though it's a little windy out here, I thought I would shoot just a little bit of this. I'm up here above Mavericks Beach. Down here, we're a little tiny bit north of where they do the big surf contest. But it's gorgeous up here right now. So I'm just up here doing a little bit of walking, getting some circulation going, and doing some Tai Chi and some Qigong. So just getting the heart rate up just a little bit, and really just enjoying the waves. A lot of times up here, it's really incredibly windy because we're not only right on the ocean, but we're where the wind hits the coastal wall and then comes up over it. So it's usually blasting here, especially right now in late November. So we're really lucky. I'm out here about an hour before sunset. So this is as good as it gets. This is why we live out here in California, those of us that do. It's like paradise out here. So my big thoughts for the moment, after talking to a real dear friend of mine about their anxiety, is because they were feeling such a lack of control and feeling like they were out of control. And I never dealt with anxiety my whole entire life. I was an athlete, still kind of a part-time athlete, recreational. And I never had anxiety, never once. I would get nervous, but it never got to a point anywhere near beyond even being nervous. And anxiety hit after I closed my business. I started to get anxiety, and eventually learned some really, really wonderful tools to be able to alleviate myself of that anxiety and to be able to just let go. And one of the things that I found is that it's not as much about being in control. It's more about forgiveness and letting go, just letting it go, because anxiety isn't something that anybody deserves. And really, the biggest tool I have is just being able to just let it go and being able to just release it off into the air and take on happy feelings. So a lot of times people will come back at me and say, that's easier said than done. And I definitely understand that mindset. Until you have the correct tools, then it's easier to be healthy than create anxiety and bad feelings within yourself. So one of the exercises that I do with clients or friends and family for anxiety is to sit and meditate. Meditation is an incredibly powerful tool against anxiety, to help alleviate yourself of that anxiety and to let it go, and to put it into perspective. And we can get very philosophical into a lot of the reasons why anxiety affects us, but the tool of meditation is one of the best ones that I've found to be able to work with and alleviate myself, and may very well work for you as well. Another one of the exercises that I give them that I feel is really an important tool is to really pay attention and learn more about how you communicate with yourself and how you talk to yourself, because often we have a very critical inner voice, inner dialogue. And this means like how you think or how you speak to yourself, whether you're speaking to yourself audibly where you can actually hear it, or it's in your head where you're talking to yourself. And a lot of times we'll say horrible things to ourselves, that we would punch people in the face if another person said to us on the street. We would get very upset and very angry. And we say the things to ourselves all the time. Oh, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm too slow, I procrastinate too much, I should have done this, I should have done that. And if we really pay attention how we speak to ourselves, and we catch a hold of that, and we turn it around immediately, because as soon as I say I'm not good enough, number one, that's limiting, so it's very disempowering, because my definition of empowerment is taking away limits. So the second that I limit myself to something, whether it's a label, being an athlete, being a coach, being a hypnotist, being a vegetarian, I'm limited, and I don't want any limitations. I only want in the moment what I'm doing, and to be good with that in my own heart. So if I say I'm not good enough, I'll hear myself say that and I'll go, whoa, whoa, stop. I don't want that excuse, because I don't want that excuse to become an excuse for something else, and then something else. And then all of a sudden I'm not good enough for anything. See, this can go down into a very deep spiral. So I change that and I go, well, what have I been good enough for? And I was good enough for this, and good enough for this, and good enough for this. I didn't choose to do this way because, and it's important to hear that word choose. I chose not to do this. It wasn't because I was limited and I wasn't good enough to do it. I chose not to do it because the moment wasn't the right moment for me, or this or that. And I take away that limitation of not being good enough, and I take away that possibility of allowing that excuse to become an excuse for my life, the rest of my life. And instead I replace it. I'll choose to do this another time, and I'll maybe even pick the time. But we really gain a lot of empowerment and become very powerful once we understand that tool, the power that we have to control our inner dialogue. A lot of times our attention just drifts past that inner dialogue, but it's really our inner dialogue that is in control of many of the facets of life that we want to be empowered in. But if our inner dialogue, that critical inner voice, how we think and how we speak to ourselves, if that voice is negative and our attention just diverts over it and takes it for granted or agrees with it, that's even more dangerous, because it will turn into our entire life. So meditate, and one of the things that I meditate on is, how am I talking to myself? And I go, well, it's a beautiful day and I'm enjoying it. Yes, I am enjoying it. And what am I doing? What am I going to do to just make it even better? I've done everything. And I literally speak to myself in these terms. What do I need to do to enjoy it more, to be happier more? And all of the pressures, I just look at them like these waves. I'm the ocean and these waves are the pressures, but some of these waves are the things that I enjoy. And I can choose, if I'm out there surfing, I can choose which one of those waves to ride. I could choose the one over here that's anxiety and stress and pressure, or I can choose the one over here that's got dolphins in it, right? Where are you out here? And if you're someplace where you're not happy, come join me over here with the dolphins.